Hello, folks. This is Raj Sastry from Raj Option Trading. Today is March 6th, 2021. We want to do a quick recap of stock market last week. Last week was, very vigorous week. So let's quickly recap. So the theme for last week is the recovery stocks are making a comeback. Think about energy, industrials, some of the smaller retailers. These stocks are really making a comeback. Bitcoin stocks are trading higher. Oil and gas, they're trading higher. And financial, especially the banks and credit card companies, fintech, they are trading, higher. And work from home stocks that did very well during the pandemic, they're taking a breather now. Now that vaccines are coming out, we got J&J, Moderna, as well as Pfizer. There are a lot of vaccines coming up. So that's why these work from home stocks are taking a breather. With that, stocks like cloud, software, solar, cybersecurity, all these stocks are down. These stocks have multiple price expansions because of the COVID pandemic. Now they're kind of cooling off, which is a good sign. And 3D printing stocks are down. And vaccine stocks, now that vaccine is kind of out, most of these vaccine stocks are down because all the good news is factored in already. EV stocks, electric, vehicle stocks are down, and even the electric battery stocks are also down. And the big retailers who are essential, earlier, those stocks are down. Think about Walmart and these type of stocks. Costco, as an example, they are coming down a little bit. The theme is a rotation theme. What worked well in the past is kind of taking a breather. What did not work well, think about oil and gas, smaller retailers. They're all making a comeback. So that's the theme. Now let's look at some big picture, and then look at some of the stocks and take it from there. From a big picture perspective, this is a chart from Thinkorswim. We will not drain this. I just want to make a quick point or two and take it from there. At the high level, think S&P 500, the Dow Jones Industrial, Nasdaq. These are all kind of, if you see, they're a little bit down. Yesterday they made a little bit, they were up, but broadly the stock, indices, they're down for the week for most part. And Nasdaq, which is tech heavy, it took the brunt of it. It's kind of came down pretty hard in the last couple of days, with the exception of Friday. And Russell, same story here. Smaller cap stocks, they took a beating, and now they made a little bit comeback on Friday. We'll see how it goes. And the bonds, this is what spooked the market. The bond itself, I think it made a small comeback. So as bonds make a comeback, typically it will impact negatively on stocks. That's why folks are really worrying about what will bond come back again or not. And next is oil, crude oil. As you can see, energy complex is making a comeback. Crude oil is high right now. It's 66. Which is really all the energy stocks. It's taking the energy stocks with it. Gold is kind of not doing that great. It's it made a little bit comeback, but not big. At this point, I think gold is really not doing that great. And dollar is kind of making a comeback, but it's still lower. It was high before, but it's still lower. If dollar really strengthens, then you can expect some of the commodities like crude oil, gold, and some of these might come down if it really strengthens. And also some of the multinational companies, they might have some impact if it really strengthens too much. We will see how it goes and take it from there. Next, we will jump into little more details, look at some of the ETFs and how they did. At the high level, we talked about these broader market indices like S&P 500, Dow Jones. All these things. They have done very well in the past. Now they're kind of taking a little bit breather, especially tech-heavy Nasdaq, as you can see here. That's taking a little bit breather, and the TLT, 20-year Treasury. It's on a way down, but it's kind of trying to make a comeback now. And the point I want to make is really, the retailers are trying to make a comeback here, and the XLF, which is financials, they're making a comeback. XLI, which is industrials, they are also making a comeback because they got impacted due to COVID. And energy, XLE, it's also making a comeback. So those are the key themes. It's a rotation theme. Tech-heavy Nasdaq kind of coming down, and the financials, industrials, and energy going up. It's a rotation game. With that, now let's look at weekly winners and losers. From a winner perspective, as you can see here, these 20 stocks are overall winners. As you know, these winners typically have skewed towards lower price, lower market cap type stocks. That's why typically you see lower market caps performing pretty well, either up or down. So, these are the stocks here, like the theme that we talked about. If you look at this year, companies like Michael, which is a small company, a retailer, it's a really brick and mortar type company. They did pretty well, and some of the Bitcoin companies did well. Canon and also somewhere down, I think we have D9. And GameStop, it's a squeeze play, did well. And you can see all the energy stocks making a comeback here. And from a loser perspective, we got a couple of huge losers here. Inseego is one, and we got On Track, which is another one. FibroGen, and some of the EV stocks that we talked about, they all came down a little bit. So that's the high level overall winners and losers. Now what we'll do is we'll look at some of the large cap stocks and also mega cap stocks and see what are the winners and losers from the large cap and mega cap perspective. With that, first let's jump into the weekly winners. We looked at losers in the previous slide. This is a little more detail about detailed list of winners. So as you can see here, Second Eye, Second Sight Medical, huge winner. These guys are doing really well of late. They have a new solution, new cure, or not even a cure. It's really artificial eye for folks who cannot see. I think it's a big breakthrough. That's why stock went up. Stock is a low price stock. I think it's a good story here. This might go up further. And we have D9 Limited, which is again a crypto play, which did well. And we also talked about Canon. It's also a good stock. It's again China-based stock into crypto. I think those are some of the favorites here. The Second Sight, even Canon, D9 Limited. D9 Limited, you got to wait a little bit. You got to see here, there's a little bit higher short ratio here. You got to watch this out. So I would buy these on a little bit weaker pullbacks, probably not right away. And now let's look at the weekly overall losers. From a loser perspective, we talked about some of these. We got On Track, Inseego, which is I think it's a time to pick up some because it came down so much after the earnings. I think it's maybe time to nibble a little bit, add to your position. FibroGen, same story. It's a healthcare stock, came down pretty hard. I think upon earnings, I think it's good to nibble at this point. And EXP World Holding, this is also a very good stock. This is into real estate, technology play. I think it's a good stock, beaten down so much. I think it's good to nibble at this point. And Lemonade, it's a new company around making the insurance purchase easy for especially millennials. It's a software platform. It also does some pet insurance also. It's a good play. I would nibble this also into weakness. And you have to watch out for these short ratios at times. Whenever there is a huge high short ratio, that's when if the stock is high and there's a high short ratio, I would not touch it. But if the stock has fallen down, like Inseego as an example, and the short ratio is high, I would not worry too much because these short ratios will be a little bit a week or so delayed. So that's why. But don't touch a stock when the short ratio is high and stock is also at a high. So with that, let's look at large cap weekly winners. From a large cap perspective, ironically, GameStop became a big large cap stock of late with all the short squeeze. But I would not go with that at this point. But these are the large cap winners. My favorites at this point are EOG Resources. It's a one of the safer resource play, which is which is recovering pretty well. And also I think Continental is also okay play. Others I would watch, even one oak is also a good energy play. But energy right now it's so much up. You can nibble a little bit. I would not I would not buy in a huge proportion at this point. Next, let's look at large cap weekly losers. Um, no surprise here, right? By looking at the list, you can see the big, the technology stocks are, making making the list here. Stocks like MongoDB, which is a technology play, Novavax, which is a vaccine story, which is almost, we have three vaccines at this point, so that's why it's coming down. And you can see the list here, Hotstock, Okta, CrowdStrike, APN, most of these cyber security, the cloud, some of software, all these stocks are coming down a little bit with with the recovery stocks taking a precedence here. My favorites are really the battery play here, QuantumScape, Enphase Energy, I would nibble. Okta, same story. These guys, they had a good earnings, but they also bought a company called Auth0. That's why Wall Street kind of did not like that too much. They're thinking, why Okta bought this company, but at the same time there was a rotation in play. All the tech stocks were getting hammered, so Okta also got hammered, and CrowdStrike is a good play also here. So I would nibble these stocks, because the way the stocks are, going up and down, I would not buy in huge quantities. Good stocks, it's good to nibble a little bit here and there and take it from there. Next, let's go into mega cap stocks. These are huge, big companies from a market cap perspective. My favorites here are Google, Facebook, and Apple. And as you can see here, the summary theme perspective, all the oil and energy stocks went up, bank, and some of these utilities like telecom utilities, AT&T, and we got United Health, which is again a good stock, which is also good dividend play. I think these stocks went up. Also Verizon Wireless, and recovery stock like Disney did well. And the bank stocks, JP Morgan, Bank of America, even Berkshire Hathaway, with bank, and they also have the insurance business, they did well. And Apple, it's down from a 52-week high, 16% down. I think it's okay to nibble at this point. So I would nibble, Google, Facebook, and Apple at this point. Don't buy too much, but a little bit here and there on a pullback. Next is mega cap losers. Tesla is the top at the list. Tesla has been doing very well in the past, multiple price expansions. Now it's kind of taking a breather. I think it's okay to nibble a little bit if you're not comfortable buying the stock outright. You could even do some spreads. You could buy say 590 and maybe say 600 spread. It's it's a little bit low cost way of playing these big stocks. And my favorites are really NVIDIA, PayPal, ASML, Adobe, CRM, which is Salesforce, Home Depot, Alibaba. Salesforce, as you might be knowing, it bought Slack, a couple of weeks ago, and that's why it's kind of going down. Market is kind of thinking, is it a how do they do the acquisition integration? Is it good play? And also text came down, so CRM also came down with it. So these are my favorites. I would nibble them on weakness. If you don't want to buy outright, you could even buy a in out spread, meaning go a little bit down. If it is 210, I would buy 200 220 type spread, which is the low cost way of playing these high dollar amount stocks. And one thing surprised me is Walmart. It's got a high short ratio. I think people are betting the stocks will go down. It already went down a little bit, but not too much. I think there may be some play for Walmart to go down a little bit. It was a COVID winner in the past. Now it might be taking a little bit breather here. So with this, just to summarize, these are the stocks I would nibble. As you can see here, we talked about Second Sight, which is about providing artificial eyesight to the folks who can't see a good story. I would nibble, and we got ND9 limited crypto play, Lemonade, which came down. The 9 limited I would buy on a pullback. It went up last week. I would buy on a pullback. Lemonade already pulled back, which is good to nibble. The list goes on. These are my favorite stocks. I would nibble them. If you can't buy outright, you could even do a spread and buy the spread, in out spread. Buy a in the if you take an example here, if Lemonade is 92, you could buy Lemonade maybe 80 and 100 spread, which is a lower cost way of playing it. That's one way to look at it. So with that, this is a quick summary of the stock market last week. Happy trading and happy investing. Thank you.